When I went to see Thor Love and Thunder with a few of my friends, we were just hanging out. I thought I was in for a good time. Honestly, Chris Hemsworth is one of the few actors left in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I actually want to go see movies for. I just thought Thor was interesting. But if this movie is any indication, I think it's time I just let the Marvel Cinematic Universe go. Okay, so you probably all have heard about Thor Love and Thunder at this point. How the movie was way too comical, and yeah, it's really over the top, and I didn't think a single joke landed. Like, I didn't laugh once throughout the entirety of this movie. Now, the jokes alone, not only did the jokes not land, but it's like they didn't even bother looking at the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Like, there's an entire love triangle joke between Mjolnir, the old hammer — I don't have a hammer here, so this is what I'm doing — and Stormbreaker, his new hammer. Or axe, I guess. But the thing is, the entire movie they're making a joke that Thor wants to get Mjolnir, but Stormbreaker keeps coming up to him being like, "What are you doing?" Well, obviously not speaking, but you get the intention. Which I guess is fine that you're able to show that, but the joke doesn't work. In Avengers Endgame, the biggest selling movie of all time, unless you adjust for inflation, Thor has Mjolnir and Stormbreaker wielding both of them at once. Cap can wield Mjolnir. So what happens? Oh, Cap ends up with Stormbreaker, and what does Thor say? "Oh, no, you take the little one, I'll take that." So this entire joke is pointless. This entire plot line is pointless when you know the progression of events. It just doesn't work, and I don't like it. Speaking of things that don't work, they just really just don't really want to show anything. Gore is only in the movie for 4 scenes. 4 scenes, that's it. The one character everybody was really wanting to see, and I will say Christian Bale actually does a fantastic job as Gore. I'm not trying to hate on this movie. The best scene in the movie is the intro scene where we get to see how Gore became, well, what he is in the movie. Now, I will say there were a few things pointed out to me that, in retrospect, make this movie even worse. Like, I thought the movie was, like, mid. Well, no. I thought the movie was below mid. It was not good. I did not like the movie. But then people point out that, oh, the main plan is for Gore, a guy who thinks that anybody who worships any type of god, like, their god doesn't listen to them. But his main plan is to kidnap the kids who worship Thor and expect Thor to come rescue them. So that defeats his entire logic. Also, I don't know if the sword that he has in this movie is a thing from the comics, but I really didn't like how the sword just kind of does that, or corrupts him. I get it as a tool because he doesn't have powers of his own, but the fact that it's corrupting him more and more just really hurts his arc, and if it is in the comics, then fine, but I just didn't like how they tried to plot convenience that. Another thing I don't like the plot convenience for, Jane Foster. Now, don't get me wrong, I like that they brought the cancer arc from the comics, but again, they play it for jokes, which isn't good. They're very inconsistent about it. At one point, Mjolnir is healing her, and then at another time, oh, the more she uses it, it's slowly killing her. They brought Jane Foster back just to kill her off. Look, I understand that a lot of people had problems with the human characters. That's why Ragnarok got rid of the relationship. But what's the point of bringing it back if you're just going to kill her off? So, and that's another thing. This entire movie wants to focus on a plot of Thor finding love again, but the dialogue for it is just so bad. I really didn't think like the arc was getting anywhere until like halfway through the movie, because they've said like just a few jokey dialogue to each other and made it clear that, oh, there's gaps in the relationship or whatever, which, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Gaps and then come back together, but there's like no real growth. They just kind of look at each other like, oh yeah, we used to date. It's kind of awkward. So anyway, you want to get back together? I mean, not exactly how it happens, but that's just how it feels. Also, when Jane suits up for the first time, we don't see it. The first time we see Jane suited up as Mighty Thor, she's already in outfit holding Mjolnir, which I don't understand how Mjolnir reforges itself. Like, that's just a thing it can do. Okay. So yeah, I did not like this movie. There's way too many plot holes. I felt like the story just wasn't good. Oh, and another thing that I'm just now reminded of. Thor has a power in this movie that really just makes me wonder, why has he not used this before? Like, and if someone tries to say, oh, he can only do it with Asgardians, they literally point out in the movie that not everybody there is an Asgardian. Asgardians in spirit, maybe, but they are not all physically Asgardians. So if Thor has this power, why has he not used it before? And it's going to be, oh, the writers didn't think of it. Then that's bad writing. You can't just make powers up willy-nilly because you need it for plot convenience. That's horrible writing, and I don't support that. So yeah, in retrospect, I did not like this movie. I did not like Thor: Love and Thunder. Apparently a lot of people are fed up with Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And you know what? I think it's time that I'm just gonna step out from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's really not too many characters that I'm really interested in seeing, and honestly, this thing's been going so long and you have to watch every single piece. I don't have Disney Plus. I don't feel like paying for Disney Plus. I don't want to watch any of the shows. WandaVision seemed interesting, but I don't know. Like, I don't feel left out because I haven't seen any of it. I just don't. I'm just over it at this point. Sorry if you disagree, but that's just where I am. I just don't care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. But yeah, that's my review of Thor: Love and Thunder. It's not good. Do I regret paying the money I did? No, because I was hanging out with friends, and honestly, I'm not someone who gets really fed up over that, like, oh, I wasted my money in this way. If I waste my money, then that's on me. Nothing more, nothing less to say about it. So yeah. But after this, I could really use something positive. Maybe something positive Marvel related. Spectacular Spider-Man is on Netflix?